Today we are going to implement another design. The design is from designer Masad, which is a landing page, kind of real estate web page. It has many fundamental elements where we are going to use in many other web designs. Like for the following tutorials, we probably will use some of the flex layout, typography, spacing, and like background color, gradients, and so on and so forth. If you are new here, I'm Juntao. I help people write bad code. So we are going to implement this whole page in this session, but I guess it will be a long session, so we probably will break it down to maybe 2 videos. We will going to implement all the elements on the page, the navigation bar, background image, the gradient, and the hero section, and the search search box, which has different criterias, and you can, when you search, you probably will see a list of search result, but we're not going to touch that part. We only will be focusing on the implement of this mockup. And yeah, let's get started. Firstly, let's open up our editors and maybe close this one. So we have design on the right hand side. We can see that clearly the page can be split into different sections. As we can see on the right hand side, we have a background image, which is kind of fill out the whole section, the top section. And then in that section, it has a header, which has navigation bar. And beneath that, it's hero section, which has the heading, description, and the features listed here. And there is a searching box like floating on the top of this section. So it has like 3 tabs. The first one will be has 4 sections on the search criteria, and yeah, the structure is pretty clear. So let's get started with markup. So we will start with the HTML as always. So we have a empty HTML file here, and I have already launched the live server, so we can start with the HTML right away. Yeah, we can start with the emit template HTML5. It will generate all the necessary parts for us, and I will close the Explorer first. So now let's change the page title a little bit. The page title, we will name it as real. I think it's real, right? And the yeah, it's real estate. We will have to make a huge background container which has the landing page, and all the elements will be like inside that container. So let's give it a name. Let's banner, because it's a whole container for all the navigation and heading. We will give the banner a background image, and then on top of that there will be a gradient. You can see it here. It's not like it's start from some color and then turn to transparency at the right hand side of the section. So let's start with the banner section. It's like a half of the page, and it has a background image, and it has a gradient. So inside the banner, there is a header for the navigation. Then we have a navigation list, and inside that nav we have a UL or like a OL, it doesn't matter, and we give it a name as nav list. And inside that list, we have like 6 items: the real, which is a logo, and 4 links and a button. So let's give it a name. Let's list item for now, and we can like times 6. It will generate 6 of the items. But let's make it more specific by saying inside that each list item, we need a link that pointing to the current page, and we need 6 of them. Yeah, we can do that now, and when we expand the emit expression, we get this whole list. So the first one is for now, let's make it just a text. Maybe in the real world we can replace that with a logo file, a image, but for now let's leave it as a text. And the next one is home and about, type of house, and the contact. The last one is a login button. So we need, because the first one and the last one are not as same as the other ones, we'll give them a different class to, like, we can select them and style with different CSS rules. So firstly, let's make this one a logo, and for the second link, it's activated. So we'll give it a class as actived. And for the last one, because it's a button, we can make it a button, maybe call it button primary, because it's pretty much it's big enough to attract users' attention for user to click. So we will make it a button primary. So now we have the structure of this navigation bar, and in the UI it looks like this. Yeah, it's basically 6 links, but we will style them. So we start from the style.css. As always, we need to reset some of the rules, the default browser rules. We will have to override them. Default styles by like the margin 0, padding 0 as well. So and then we will need to change the anchor style. We don't want that underscore and the blue color for the anchor. So let's override the anchor color to be maybe black, and text decoration to be now, right? But it's not working because we are not linked the HTML and CSS yet. So let's link it from here, link CSS to the style.css. Now it's kind of working, and you can see the links are now reset. But yeah, obviously we need them to horizontally aligned. But before that, we would like the whole section to be in the center of the page. As you can see here, the rel and the login, they are kind of aligned in the center of the comments. So we want the header to be inside a container that can be center aligned in the middle of the page. So firstly, let's we can do either like put the header, give a header a fixed wise, or we can put them together inside a container that can be reused in the following sections as well. So let's put this header inside a container. So you can do Command Shift P, and then you can wrap with aberration. Let's say we put them inside the content, and then you can see the header is inside the content, is wrapped in a content div, and the other way we can give content a fixed wise. Let's say wise 800 pixel, and for the margin inline, which is left and right, to be auto. So that will move the content in the center of the page. But obviously it's not. We also need to reset the list item style. So we say list item styles to be now. So without the bullet, and then we want the whole section to be horizontally distributed. So by doing that, we just use the flex box. So we say in the UL never list, we want that item. We want that to be the flex container, right? Display flex. That will make all the list items as flex item. So now we only need to make sure they have some space in between, right? So let's give it a gap 1 rem for now. And for the rel, the first logo element, we want that to like on the left hand side, and the rest of the items to need to be pushed to the right hand side. So we in that case we need to making sure the first one, which is logo itself, we say okay, so the list item, the first child of the list item, please give it a margin right to be auto. That means the right hand side of this rel or the logo will use all the available space as a margin. So it will kind of push that away, all the other items away. So this additional space here are the margin right of the first element. So that's kind of making the design more real. And for the logo, we want the text to be more bold and it has a larger text. So let's make it more big, like 2 rem maybe. I don't know, it looks like too big. Let's make it 1.5. And also the font weight to be bold. Yeah, it looks more real. And for the rest of these links, especially for the active one, we would like the font weight to be bold as well, which is the home. And also, I guess they have more space than our design, right? So we will make them have more space. So let's give them give all the links a style. Let's give all the links inside the list item a different style. So let's say list item anchor inside that list item. We want it has a padding inline, which is again right and left, to be like 1 rem. Let's say, is that too much? I think it's pretty good compared to the design. And also we want the last one, which is a button, to have a different style. Let's define the last item, which is the button. Primary. Give it a different style to make it a button. So background color for the button is black, and the color is white, right? And we also need it to the display need to be inline block. It will behave as a block element, but it's an inline. So then we can add in some padding and it will work. I guess it's like half on the top and bottom, and for left and right, and maybe 1.5, let's say. I'm not sure. Maybe 2. It looks pretty big on the left and right parts. And also we noticed that the navigation bar are not very aligned. We need to make them aligned as well. So let's make the nav list flex box align item center to make them like aligned. That's pretty much it. If we inspect the whole navigation list and see if they are actually aligned. Yes, it's pretty much. I think it's pretty aligned to the design, but only problem is they are using different default font. We will need the font to be sans serif for the links. So let's move back to the body, yeah, let's define some CSS variables for the font. What do you call that? Font text. We'll make it a system UI, maybe serif, and we will use them in the body. Font family, font text. It looks more real, or like at least it's more aligned with the design. But yeah, for the logo, it's actually not that much, but we will address this issue when we handling the headings. And if we want to put a background for the whole section, we need to start in the banner element, which is the like kind of a container for the content and the headings. So let's implement the banner for now. So I guess we need to start from here. We can give it a separate section for banner. So for banner, let's say we would like the background image to be URL, assets, the bridge, right? So it will have that, and we will give it a wise as 100 wise, viewpoint wise, and for the height is like 50% of the viewpoint height, and we want the image to be the position, the size need to be cover. That will use it will stretch or like shrink the image to fit into the container. That's exactly what we want. And because we are using the 50% of the view height, so because we have this opened, if we close this tab tool, it will fill out more space here. So if you look at this design, it has a gradient here, so we'll make that gradient a separate layer. So by doing that, we will make this banner as a like a position relative container, position relative, and for a pseudo element of the before, let's say, we'll make that pseudo element a position absolute. Also, we want to show it the content, and yeah, if we now set background color for this one, let's say red, and let's give it a position top, left, bottom, and right. We set all the position for this absolute element. It will fill out all the section, right? If we make a half transparency filter on top of the banner in background image, it will look like it covered part of the half of the image, and for the rest it will show them up gradually. So by doing that, we need a background image and linear gradient. For linear gradient, the syntax is you will specify the direction of the gradients. So you start at one point and end at another. So we will say it has many other options, but now we will start with to right. That means the gradient will start from the right, the left, and end to the right side of the container. And the first color will be the background color, which is this side. We can, for now, let's put it a RGBA because we want the transparency at the end. So let's say it's 1200, 1250, and 1. 1 means totally not transparent. For the second stop, we want it to be like 8 at 50%, and for the next one, let's say at 80%, we want to be 50% transparency, and at the end stop will be transparent. This will looks like pretty much what we are expecting, right? But I guess we need more white on the left hand side, so make it like 80% or 70% of that, and 80% of that. So maybe we put it more like so, just thinking around these parameters. So basically the linear gradient defines the direction of the gradient, the initial color, the end color, or the final color, and some steps in between, right? So you can define like more whitish or more transparent along the way. So we are saying like at the 70% we want a like 0.9 transparency. So if we put the 1 here, it will be more whitish, and if we want like a 50%, we still need a white, and then along the way it will gradient out, probably maybe 70% or like 60%. It's like that. But yeah, the more steps you have in between the initial value and the final value, the more real of the ingredients. So probably we can make it like a 0.95. It looks more real. But the problem now is that you can see the gradient is covering the content, right? So we need to fix that by making the content again a relative positioned content. That will fix the problem. So yeah, let's working on the headings. Now you have it. Today we learned how to implement this web design exactly as the mockup. If you haven't yet, please consider to subscribe so you can be notified when I have any new releases. Also, please click a like, and yeah, if you like, please share that with your friends as well. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.